Ah, this one's interesting. Now, I've called this one Mr. No Zero. And I wonder when we teach students zero. This particular guy, I think he came from Somalia. And this was when I was living in Sweden, actually. He was a refugee from Somalia, about 16 years old, I suppose. And he was doing some mathematics, some calculations, and getting them all horribly wrong. And he was rather frustrated about what was happening. And you'll see why I called him Mr. No Zero. A young Somali man, aged about 16, is struggling to make sense of the incorrect answers he's getting. He asks for help. Part of the calculation requires finding the distance between points A and B, where A is 40 and B is 70. Yes, those are Cartesian coordinates. Hold on to your seat if you're not a mathematician. Get a little bumpy. He pointed at the A, 40, and then 50, 60, and says in turn 1, 2, 3, pointing at the last B, 70, and says 4. The distance is 4. No, I shake my head. I show him 4 fingers and ask, what's the distance between my index finger and my small finger? He counts the fingers, starting at my index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Distance 4. No, I shake my head. It's 3. I'm trying to show him the space between my fingers. I pick up a ruler and offer it to him. Find the 4. Find the 7. He finds them. What's the distance between the 4 and the 7? He counts, starting at the 4, saying 1. I interrupt. You start at 1? I show him the end of the ruler and point at the 0. This is where we start counting. He stares at the 0 for a long time. Again, he points at the 40 and says 1. I point at the 50 and say 1, and point at the 4 and ask what it is. He does not say 0, he says ah. So I extend the ah into ah1, ah2, as we move from 4 to 5 to 6, landing on the numbers and saying 1, 2, 3 together. We count the R2 at 60, R3 as 70. 3, I repeat. He's silent. I wait until he looks at me. What are you thinking? I ask him. I don't know. I never used that in school, he said, pointing at the 0 at the end of the plastic ruler. I teach him. When you count, it's R1, R2, R3, I say, showing first 1, then 2, then 3 fingers. When you measure the distance from here to here, I point at the 4 and say R1 as I slide my finger along, R2 as I slide my finger along, R3, he says, grinning all end to ear. I grin back at him. What have you learned? Oh, when I can't, I have to say R1, R2. Well, we usually say it very quietly and just speak the number out loud. What else? There's a number here, right here, he says, and points at the 0. It's called 0, I tell him. I realize now in retelling that story that if you're not a mathematician or enthusiastic about mathematics, you might have found that explanation rather overbearing. New maths is rather overbearing, but at some point that man has not heard about 0. I wonder when we teach it.